For the longest time, I struggled with procrastination. It was hard to go to the gym every day, study for exams, or in general do hard things, even though I knew that it was really good for me. Recently though, I figured out how to consistently take action, and I realized that it has actually nothing to do with willpower. There is actually a way to do hard things even if we don't feel like it. And the irony for me was that I found the answer on Greek philosophy, specifically on a slave that lived 2000 years ago. So, today I want to show you how Greek philosophy can reframe everything for you and how this can allow your brain to do very hard things. So for me, the key was to outsmart my brain. But first I had to see how my mind works. Because if you think about it, every one of our behaviors have patterns. And when I paid attention, I figured out that hard work was always met with two types of resistance. If you think about it, the first thing that most often happens to you is negative emotion. Your brain is like a spoiled child. When a child doesn't get what it wants to get, it throws a tantrum and starts crying. It's actually the same thing for your brain. When things feel stressful or boring, our inner child wakes up and it starts procrastinating. I start feeling tired and that I have to take a nap, eat a little bit. I start imagining how hard it will be and I just want to scroll and relax. Basically, my brain does everything to get me away from doing the hard thing. The second thing that happens is our ego. Basically, this is how you see yourself. And our brain does everything to protect our ego. My brain doesn't want my ego to get hurt. I see myself as a hero, and that's how I attach myself and my self-worth. But now I had to do something very hard that is out of my comfort zone, and I look like a fool doing it. Like for example, when I had to ask my wife for the first time to go out, I will subconsciously avoid it because I don't want my ego to get hurt. I don't want reality to crash into the image that I constructed for myself and do anything except the hard thing, which is to text this beautiful girl or call her. So instead, to preserve my self-image, I would literally avoid doing the hard thing at all. Originally, I met Anu around 3 years ago at this point on an event. And back then, because we were in the event, I had the confidence and the motivation to ask her to go for a walk with me. And it was actually going really good. When we split up and I went back to Chattanooga and she went to Canada, I was trying to keep talking with her, but she kind of ghosted me and she told me that she doesn't want to talk to me anymore. And that shattered my self-ego and how I was seeing myself. It took me almost a year that I completely let this go and I started working on myself until I had again the opportunity to talk to her. And what I noticed on myself is that it was very scary for me to text even one message. I was in LA with my friends and I was asking them, conducting whole meetings around how to reply to every one of the messages. We were analyzing the psychology of every word in order to construct the best message. And sometimes I wasn't even texting back because my ego was too afraid to get shattered in front of my friends, but also from the same girl that now is my wife. So in either case of resistance, either being the ego or our brain throwing a tantrum because it's too hard, if we try to fight against our brain, this will not work. So the thing is, if we find what is the source of the problem, we can change completely our approach in order to make our brain to work with us instead of against us. Let's talk first about negative emotions. And this is where Greek philosophy gave me the foundation on how to change the approach. There is a Greek word called dogma. It means judgment. So what the Greek philosopher said is that people are not disturbed by things, but by their judgment about things. What I like to think is me on two different universes. It can be me today that I feel so much pain to go to the gym. It feels like a huge obstacle that is so hard to do. And I have to be there for 1 hour and sweat. But also there is a me on a different universe, go to the gym, have fun for 1 hour and come back. And the two of me can have the same experiences and one enjoy mentally what the process will be and one be in agony and pain. So this philosopher was born 50 AD and his name was Epictetus. It was his slave name that means acquired. The reason I'm taking inspiration and understanding from him is that this is one person that had zero control over his external life. He was enslaved, exiled, and physically impaired, and the only thing that nobody could touch was how he perceived himself and what was happening to him. This is why this idea of how you judge yourself and what's happening to you came from him and not from a rich philosopher. Literally the only thing that he had to work with, which is how he's judging what's happening to him. So the concrete lesson that I took from him is that the task is never the problem. It is how we perceive the task and how we encode that within our brain. Instead of saying to yourself that I'm going to write an entire book or I'm going to write a chapter, this is the moment that you can chunk your task and say, today I'm going to just write a paragraph, or today I'm going to just write a sentence. Our mind is very visual. It actually makes a mental calculation of what it means. So if you say that I'm only going to record the first 10 seconds of the video, your mind can actually see yourself recording these 10 seconds and closing this up. And it doesn't throw a tantrum. So the judgment dogma becomes that this is a very simple task that anyone can do. So your brain allows you to do it without pain. So there is two ways to reframe. One way is to say that you're gonna do this task for a little bit, so for how long you're doing it. And the second one is for how much you will do. So you can either say that I'm gonna do that for 3 minutes, or you're gonna say that I'm gonna write a paragraph or a sentence. Whatever way you want, you are reframing the problem to something very simple. And what I found for myself is that when I'm actually there and I'm doing it, it feels kind of nice to continue being in flow. So when I wrote the first sentence, I'm okay to leave it aside because that's what I promised myself. But if I feel in flow, I kind of continue writing another paragraph. So I found somewhere on YouTube that people calling that the 2-minute rule, which is a simple way of saying, hey, today I want to do the 2-minute rule, which is either doing something for a small amount of time or doing a small action. The other tactical thing that worked for me was to just start getting ready. For example, today I had to record a video. So before I even went to the gym, I got my light out and I organized that. So by the time I was back from the gym, already my environment was ready. So it was just easier for me to just slip through and start doing the task. I already took so much of the friction, which was to prepare my environment. Let's talk about the ego. The problem here is punishment versus reward. Every time our mind calculates how much pain I'm going to get and how much pleasure. And if something in your mind has equal reward and pain, mind will always choose to avoid pain. So the first thing and most important thing is for you to start thinking how to minimize pain. This is the part that we are talking about the ego. Every time that you go to do a hard thing, your mind will calculate how much this will potentially hit and destroy your ego, and this will create pain on you. In one of my favorite books, Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell explains that all our actions, feelings, behaviors, even our abilities are always consistent with our self-image. So identity, self-image, and ego are interrelated. So something that worked very well for me was taking the pressure off my ego. Multiple times as a CTO, I had to be on the spotlight. I had to hire people that are much older and more experienced than me. And I have to make all these decisions that I am on the spot. So most of the time when I make a decision, it's actually terrifying feeling all the pressure from the people looking at me making a decision, if this is the right direction for us or the wrong direction for us. So it's funny, I was talking with a friend recently and I was asking her how it is so easy for her to make all these very difficult decisions and how it looks like she's always having so much fun. And what she told me is that she doesn't even think like that. This question that I gave her didn't even make sense. And what I realized, somehow this person was more focused on having fun than evaluating their ego. What I took from that and how it helped me was that when I took away the pressure of what it means for me and I shifted my attention towards having fun and learning, this is when things start getting very easy. It's funny, our brain is amazing at focusing on what you want it to focus, which is called RES. So if you just train your mind to focus on the thing you want it to focus, which is, for example, having fun, instead of evaluating themselves within society, for example, your brain will actually do that really well. But when I tried it, it was very helpful for me and it changed how I see myself. I just saw that I'm talking here for like 36 minutes and I have to move on. If there is one thing you can take from this video is that it's actually easier than you think for you to do hard things as long as you understand the pattern of your brain. which is there is two main things that hold you back, which is your ego with pain and pleasure, and your negative self-talk, which is with judgment and dogma from the Greek philosopher. If you just take these two things and you apply them in your life, it will have a huge effect for you. That's it. If you had fun, go and check this video about flow.